I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. I'm Spider-Man, then.
Round 1. Best Suit.
With great power comes great responsibility.
In 2002, Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker debuted the first modern Spider-Man costume. The suit featured a textured web design, bright red and blue color scheme, and a cool spider logo. This crowd-pleasing design didn't go through any major changes until Spider-Man 3.
Whoa, buddy, love the new outfit.
After running into an alien parasite, the suit became a badass shade of black with a slick silver spider logo. While the costume change looked great, the trilogy ended with Peter back in the classic blue and red suit that fans had grown to love.
Spandex. Everything. Spandex.
When the franchise was rebooted in 2012, the suit went through significant changes. Garfield's costume leaned more on the color blue, made the eyes yellow, and featured web shooters. Although some fans liked the radical design, his suit was updated to a more traditional look in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. This time around, the costume's big eyes, vivid color scheme, and simplified design had more than a few critics declaring it as the most faithful live-action Spider-Man outfit ever. No live-action Spidey has more suits than Tom Holland. His debut costume had black accents, underarm webbing, and extremely expressive eyes. Holland followed that up with an Iron Spider costume complete with metal arms, a black stealth suit, and a recolored version of his first outfit. All of these suits were equipped with customizable web shooters, and half had an AI program built into them. This technological advantage made all of Holland's stylish suits even more memorable. If we were judging by variety or comic book accuracy, Holland or Garfield would run away with this one. However, there's something to be said about creating a suit so good it essentially stays the same throughout a hero's entire career. The longevity of Maguire's original costume beats out its stylish competition. Winner, Tobey Maguire. Round 2. Cultural impact. After the failure of 90s superhero flicks like Batman and Robin, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films helped save the genre.
I knew you two were in this together!
Hey, kiddo, let mom and dad talk for a minute, will ya?
The trilogy had enough dramatic material to make Spidey's world feel realistic.
Don't tell Harry.
At the same time, the series wasn't afraid to embrace bright colors and campy scenes. This delicate balancing act of seriousness and silliness resulted in huge box office earnings and critical praise.
This is really heavy.
The trilogy showed that superhero movies could be complex without losing their colorful identities. 5 years after Raimi's trilogy ended, Mark Webb's Amazing Spider-Man films aimed to put a fresh spin on a familiar character. While both movies had a darker tone than Maguire's trilogy, Garfield's charm and romantic subplot helped keep the stories lighthearted.
You like beating on girls? Like beating on old men?
The series also promised to launch a cinematic universe. Unfortunately, the second movie was so focused on building a Spider-Verse that it lost sight of its main character. Despite both movies being financially successful, the mostly negative reception to Amazing Spider-Man 2 ended the franchise before it truly began.
Stay with me, stay with me. Stay with me, stay with me. You stay with me.
Just
Hey everyone.
good job.
It only took Sony 2 years to reboot Spider-Man with an appearance in Captain America: Civil War. After Tom Holland's well-received debut, he appeared in 2 Avengers stories and starred in 2 movies. Although his solo films didn't stray too far from the MCU's typical story structure or tone, they were massive critical successes that grossed over $2 billion worldwide. When Holland's stellar MCU run was endangered by studio disputes, fans were extremely vocal about wanting to keep him in the universe.
No! Please! Hey, please!
Fortunately, everything was resolved, and Holland was cleared to explore what's next for Spider-Man.
Here's the real blockbuster. Brace yourselves, you might want to sit down.
Spider-Man's real name is... Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker.
Garfield's Spider-Man series didn't last long enough to leave a significant impact.
Where do you go? Who does this to you?
Please go to sleep, Aunt May.
And while Holland is beloved, his movies haven't reshaped the modern superhero movie format yet.
Okay, Spider-Man! Don't flip! Yeah!
Not bad.
The Raimi trilogy walked a new kind of superhero story back into cinemas so that Holland and Garfield could run.
They love me.
Winner, Tobey Maguire. Round 3, sense of humor.
Pizza time.
Although Maguire's Spider-Man occasionally cracked a few jokes and puns, he tended to take crime fighting seriously. His funny side really came out when he stepped out of the costume.
Looks uncomfortable.
It gets kind of itchy.
Maguire's Peter Parker was a master of physical humor. He could make even the most painful injury look hilarious. Maguire also knew how to play up Peter's awkwardness so that we couldn't help but laugh at him. By leaning into Peter's flaws, Maguire kept us laughing in between action scenes.
Here's your change!
Just let me go.
Is that a knife? Is that a real knife?
Yes, it's a real knife.
My weakness, it's small knives.
Andrew Garfield could not stop cracking jokes when he played Spider-Man. Whether he was facing off against a common mugger or supervillain, this Spidey could not resist roasting his enemies.
All right, so you don't want to talk? There you go.
Garfield's fantastic comedic timing and sarcastic delivery made his burns even better.
Mr. Criminal. Hey, my name is Spider-Man. You can call me Webhead, you can call me Amazing, just don't call me late for dinner, you get it?
The only downside was that his jokes could get in the way of his heroics.
What's your name again?
How could you forget me?
Oh, I do, I know it, don't tell me.
It's Max.
It's a Max?
Yes.
He sometimes seemed more interested in roasting his enemies than saving the day. However, Garfield made up for it by bringing his sharp sense of humor to his portrayal of Peter as well.
What happened to your face? It's filthy.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I was cleaning the chimney.
We have no chimney.
Whoa, you're the Avengers! What are you guys doing here?
Holland excels at making funny observations during battle.
What happened to your voice?
What do you mean, what happened to my voice?
I heard you by the bridge. I know what a girl sound like.
I'm not a girl, I'm a boy.
While Holland's Spidey makes fun of lower-level enemies, he doesn't spend too much time directly insulting supervillains. But Holland brings more than quips to the table. The way he reacts to everything is hilarious.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. I'm Spider-Man, then.
His voice, facial expressions, and awkward body movements keep us in stitches. So if Holland's words weren't making us laugh, his physical bits would do the trick. While all three of these Spider-Men are hilarious, Garfield is the strongest comedian. His excellent delivery and volume of jokes are unmatched by his competitors. If there were a supervillain comedy roast, we'd pick Garfield to host in a heartbeat.
Stop it! Dude, that isn't funny!
It is kind of funny,
help!
man.
Winner, Andrew Garfield. Round 4, action scenes, stunts. Action sequences always felt epic during the Raimi trilogy. Although they all occurred in New York City, the excellent cinematography made every fight scene feel distinct. While some of the CGI looks dated today, creative choreography and practical stunts help balance out any visual shortcomings. The best action scene is arguably the runaway train sequence. Audiences were blown away by Spider-Man's desperate efforts to save the passengers of a sabotaged train. The sequence was so memorable, it was referenced in Spider-Man media as recently as 2018.
I saved a bunch of people, fell in love, saved the city, and then I saved the city again, and again, and again, and again.
Mark Webb shook up the Webhead's action scenes by exploring more of New York City. Garfield Spider-Man faced off against Electro in Times Square, battled the Lizard in the sewers, and fought Green Goblin in a clock tower. These scenes also presented the advantages and limitations of the web shooters in interesting ways. Although the stunt work is solid across the board, the CGI used to create the supervillains occasionally fell short. The effects used to render Electro are particularly shaky. Fortunately, the stunning CGI used in the spider sense scenes helped make up for the lackluster villains. Every one of Holland's Spider-Man appearances has taken the hero to a new place. He leaped off the Washington Monument, fought the Vulture atop a moving plane, and dismantled Mysterio's drones on London's Tower Bridge. The new settings were not only visual treats for the eyes, but gave us opportunities to see how Spider-Man faces new environments and seemingly impossible odds. A seamless blend of CGI and stunt work also helps the action stand out. Knowing that the naturally acrobatic Holland performed a few stunts was the icing on the cake. The inconsistent CGI in the Amazing Spider-Man series could be distracting.
That's disgusting.
And while the original trilogy's train scene is iconic, it's one of many New York City set pieces. Holland's Spider-Man has repeatedly left the Manhattan skyline to give us inventive and compelling action scenes with stunning visuals.
Stark was right. You do deserve that.
Winner, Tom Holland. Round 5, Character Portrayal.
That's me.
Hey, tell him to stop, please! Stop! Hey! Stop the bus!
Tobey Maguire was Peter Parker. He played the awkward and intelligent hero with a good heart to perfection.
You're taller than you look.
I hunch.
But Maguire also convinced us there was a confident person underneath Peter's nerdy exterior. Throughout the trilogy, we saw Spidey grapple with his responsibilities in moving and complex ways. Although the character took an embarrassing misstep with a sudden emo phase, he never stopped being endearing.
Leave me alone.
Give me rent.
You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!
Maguire's portrayal made us sympathize with the character at his worst and cheer for him at his best.
Spider-Man will always have enemies. I can't let you take that risk.
On the surface, Garfield's Peter Parker seems pretty cool.
Put him down, Flash.
Take the picture.
Put him down, Eugene!
He's a scientific genius, sticks up for people, and knows how to skateboard. Unfortunately, his past trauma and feelings of guilt cause him to put up walls between himself and his loved ones. Garfield beautifully conveyed the angst and loneliness the character felt.
Yeah, but we've talked about this.
I know, Gwen.
It's not his choice.
Gwen, I promised him that I would keep it away from you.
He also knew when to dial the darkness back and let the wisecracking Spider-Man take the spotlight. Garfield's brilliant performance helped his Peter grow from a bitter loner into an inspiring hero.
I'm gonna take care of this, Jake. You go take care of your mom, okay? Alright, get out of here. Go. Go.
Look, when you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you.
The most convincing teenage Peter Parker is Tom Holland.
Do you know that I was the only one who believed in you? Everyone else said I was crazy to recruit a 14-year-old kid.
He's hyper-energetic, awkward, and unsure of himself. Holland carries all those personality traits into his Spider-Man persona as well. His realistic approach to playing a teenager makes heroes and villains alike treat Peter like a little kid.
You are just a scared little kid in a sweatsuit.
But when push comes to shove, he finds the confidence within himself to be a mature hero. Throughout his various movie appearances, Holland's Peter has grown tremendously. At the same time, he never loses the youthful energy that made fans love him in the first place.
You can't trick me anymore.
Although Garfield's performance is great overall, his cool portrayal of Peter Parker feels less authentic than his counterparts.
This could have gotten a lot worse.
Both Holland and Maguire gave us awkward and sympathetic versions of the beloved webhead. But Holland's seemingly limitless energy and the way Peter's awkward personality blends into his Spider-Man persona makes the character feel like the most realistic teenage superhero ever put on screen.
That's great.
Winner, Tom Holland. Sorry, Mr. Garfield, but our tiebreaker round will be between Maguire and Holland. Round 6, Best Movies. Raimi's Spider-Man contained enough sharp humor, compelling drama, and thrilling action to elevate an origin story into a record-breaking superhero film. Spider-Man 2 upped the ante by adding the menacing and sympathetic Dr. Octopus.
I will not die a monster.
At the same time, the sequel presented a compelling story about Peter deciding whether to embrace his powers or live a normal life. Spider-Man 2 is still widely considered to be one of the best superhero films ever. Unfortunately, it was followed by the heavily criticized Spider-Man 3. After the third movie crammed too many villains, ridiculous dancing, and unnecessary plot lines into its runtime, it received a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes. While the trilogy certainly didn't stick the landing, there is plenty to love about the series.
It's me, Peter Parker, your friendly neighborhood, I've come a long way from being the boy who was bit by a spider. Back then, nothing seemed to go right for me.
Holland's Spider-Man appeared in 3 of the most critically and financially successful MCU crossovers of all time. But that's not to say Holland's solo work isn't impressive.
You can't be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man if there's no neighborhood.
Spider-Man Homecoming felt like a fresh teen comedy that happened to have superheroes. The well-received premise gave us more time with Peter and deepened his relationship with Iron Man.
If you even cared, you'd actually be here.
In the sequel, we focused on Peter trying to live up to the deceased Tony Stark's legacy while coming into his own as a hero.
You're not Iron Man. You're never gonna be Iron Man.
As fans made Far From Home the most financially successful Spider-Man film of all time, they couldn't help but notice something about the series' villains. Both Vulture and Mysterio were created from Tony Stark's mistakes instead of Spider-Man's.
They do whatever they want, guys like us. Like you and me. They don't care about us. We build their roads and we fight all their wars and everything. They don't care about us.
While Holland gave great performances in both films, it felt like his stories were stuck in the shadow of Iron Man.
There are bigger things happening here than me and you.
Both Maguire and Holland's Spidey resumes contain triumphs and shortcomings. And if we put the Avengers films aside,
Thank you, Mr. Stark. But I'm good.
both actors have 2 certified fresh Spider-Man movies under their belts. But with the virtually untouchable MCU backing Holland's 3rd Spider-Man film, it's incredibly unlikely it'll turn out as disappointing as Spider-Man 3.
Hey, stick around. It's gonna start again in a couple minutes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Although Maguire has starred in 2 spectacular superhero films, his Spider-Man run will never be as financially or critically strong as Holland's amazing resume.
And your friends are in trouble. You're all alone. Your tech is missing. What are you gonna do about it?
I'm gonna kick his ass.
Winner, Tom Holland. It was a close battle, but Holland ultimately swings past Maguire to victory with a score of 3-2. So did we pick the right Spider-Man actor? Be sure to debate it in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to Watch Mojo for more spectacular superhero battles. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.